Well, sometimes you just need a little perspective. This is Steve Ridgel, and I just bought a new truck. Now, we've got a little ranch outside of town, and so I got one that's got a brush guard, and it's four-wheel drive, and it's the ranch hand Chevrolet Silverado pickup, and it is new, and it is nice, and boy, did it cost a lot of money. I mean, I just was shocked. In fact, I had really thought this time I might not buy a new truck until I found out from shopping around that the new truck was not really that much. A nice new truck like I wanted was not much more than a okay used truck. It's kind of a shocking thing. And I was telling my wife, I said, man, I spent twice as much on this truck as we did our first house. And that's true, by the way. And my old truck, I mean, it was getting pretty big. It had a lot of miles and a lot of years on it. I mean, we kind of buy them and drive them till there's not much left. There were a lot of hard miles on it. And I sold it to my grandson. Jake's been working at a nursery, and he works hard, and he wanted to pick up, and we were able to negotiate. I sold it to him pretty cheap, I thought. And that's when I started realizing some perspective. I'm real proud of my new truck, and it really is. It was expensive. But you know what my wife reminded me of? She said, yeah, we spent twice as much as we did for our first house. And she looked at me and said, and that truck's twice as nice as our first house. And you know what? That may be true. I'm not so sure I couldn't be about as comfortable in that truck sometimes as I was in our first house. And I watched Jake with that new truck to him. He loves that old beat up truck. I mean, he takes care of it. He is careful with it. He is thrilled to have it. He worked hard to pay for it. I was kind of tired of that old truck, and now I'm seeing it through his eyes thinking, wow, that's pretty cool. And my wife's right about a lot of other things. Mimi's right that, it is a nice truck, and God has blessed us to have enough money to buy it, and I need to remember that. And so sometimes when I think, wow, I can't believe we spent that much, and oh my, it just needs a little perspective, like a whole lot of things in my life. Sometimes you think, wow, has anybody ever had it this bad, been this way, got this? And sometimes you need a little perspective. Just look around and say, you know what? God's still taking care of us, and things are still good, and life's going to be really good, because someday when this life is done, I'm going home to live with God forever. Boy, that's the perspective I need. And it's also helpful to remind myself, as I do occasionally, that, the things that seem so big to me, there are a million people living in China that don't even care. And most of the things that happen to me 1,000 years from now, nobody's going to care. Perspective. And so here's the perspective I want to keep every day. God loves me. I'm going to try to follow Jesus, and I'm going to go home and live with him forever someday. So this is Steve Ridgel reminding you, get a little perspective. It helps. And I do like my truck.